We're back on Auto Show TV. Want to give Mazda a little bit of love right now, and this familiar face is Carl Tasca Jr. We're at Tasca Mazda. So let me ask you, is it me or is Mazda making a terrific product that not everybody seems to know about?
Mazda may very well be the best kept secret in our automotive group, John. It's a brand that we've had since 2001. It's one of our highest volume brands, one of our highest CSI brands. It's also a brand that a lot of Tascas drive, but for whatever reason, it kind of flies below the radar.
Seems to me I remember your grandfather driving a Mazda or two.
Yes, in fact, right to our left is a picture of my grandfather in this showroom. His last 4 vehicles were Mazdas. He always said it was the best engineered car that we sold at the time. Of course, he mispronounced, he called it Mazda, but that's okay, he's a Rhode Islander. But, and my wife actually had 2 of them, and all my brother-in-laws leased Mazdas. Maybe going back to 2002, I don't think I've ever read a bad review about a Mazda. There's really nothing to complain about. They have best-in-class styling, best-in-class technology, double best-in-class fuel economy, and they're actually nice cars to drive. You can get a car that gets 35, 40, 43 miles per gallon, and it doesn't feel like it was designed solely for the purpose of not using gasoline, which is nice.
Yeah, so what do your service techs think of working on Mazdas?
Well, it's interesting. If you walk into the service department of the dealership you're in right now, our flagship Cranston store, there are a lot of technicians for a lot of our brands. We have 2 Mazda technicians because they don't break. The big joke is that you don't repair a Mazda, you maintain a Mazda, which maybe they broke a little bit more often, we'd be a little busier, but it's as close to a worry-free experience as possible. They really don't break. They require infrequent maintenance, and there aren't a lot of recalls with Mazdas like maybe with some of the other brands.
Right.
So overall, it's a pretty worry-free experience, and they don't use a lot of fuel. So you make your monthly payment and you go about your business. Once you test drive especially the CX-5, I think that's the most groundbreaking of the current Mazda lineup. You drive a CX-5, you don't want to look anywhere else. And for what you get, even at the entry-level Sport, the amount of equipment and technology in that car, you'd have to go up 3 or 4 or 5 trim levels versus some of our Japanese competition, which is nice.
Well, let's take a closer look because here it is. This is the all-new, the redesigned Mazda CX-5 that you're very proud of. You've only had it for a very short time.
2017 was the model you see here. And it's been our second best-selling car in our group since the car came out. The only car that outsells it is the F-150. And of course, that outsells everything.
Right.
But it's an exceptional value. You can get a Sport, which is the entry level, with more basic equipment than 2 or 3 trim levels up for the competition. And then if you go to the Grand Touring, it really becomes from an entry-level SUV to a luxury SUV, loaded with every single feature possible.
Yeah.
So it appeals to this one brand, this one model lineup appeals to various segments, which is nice.
Now, from the previous generation CX-5 to this new one, I know that a lot of new technology, a lot of new safety technology.
Yes. What Mazda did was they never want to be behind with vehicle design, and some of the finest engineers in the industry work at Mazda. But what I think the best safety feature of this car is its maneuverability. A lot of times when you get to a car that's based on fuel economy as its unique selling proposal, it compromises with responsiveness, it compromises with just its general handling. If you put this car on a road and you have to take an evasive driving maneuver to save your family, the car's going to respond. Unlike some of the competition that maybe it gets great fuel economy, but it's a sled on wheels. This truly is as close to a sports car in its segment as possible. And that's the ultimate safety feature. When you can get out of the way of trouble, you don't need to worry about a car stopping itself or a car doing this or that for you. And that's what makes the Mazda so, I would say, fun to drive and safe at the same time.
For people who now are interested in the CX-5, how do they lease? And talk a little bit about coming down here to Tasca and get yourself a good deal.
Sure, of course. I mean, we like to tell you how great Mazda is, and we like to think that no one does Mazda as well as Tasca does. It's a brand lineup overall that's based on value. So you do get an awful lot for your money, but at the end of the day, the cars are not, they're not out of reach budget-wise. If you go on Tasca.com, our website, I and my family spend a lot of time making sure that we make it easy for a customer to find out what do these things cost, what's the true cost of ownership. So if you were to look at the monthly payment on one of these, you can get a CX-5 all-wheel drive SUV for a similar monthly payment to what you'll be looking at for a Toyota Camry or a Honda Accord. So you're getting more equipment, more functionality for a pretty low monthly payment. And one thing that we do, we lease about 70% of our Mazdas. And that's a whole other TV segment why I think it's the best way to drive a car. I'm biased, my grandfather invented leasing. But when you look at the true cost of ownership, doing a 24 or 36-month lease on a CX-5 will legitimately save you thousands over buying that Toyota or that Honda. And then when you stack on top of that, it's a better vehicle, it's a no-brainer. It's why it's the second best-selling car in our group.
Well, Carl, if any of our viewers are interested in the CX-5, any Mazda, any Tasca product, come on down here to the, as I like to say, the Tasca mothership here on Pontiac Avenue in Cranston. Where?
You will be satisfied.